as being of the world. We are called to live holy lives, lives which are by definition of the word holy, different from the way the world lives. One of the ways that distinguishes the church from the rest of the world is in its calendar. Our calendar is determined by when Easter takes place. And then everything else falls into place on that basis. We have Easter, and roughly 40 days before that is Ash Wednesday, and that begins our Lenten season. Then we have Easter, and 50 days after Easter is Pentecost. And then that's a long season, and we have just concluded the Pentecost season. Today we begin Advent, and the church has designated this as the beginning of the year for us. And why is that? It's because we are preparing now to celebrate an event that changed the history of the world, the birth of Jesus, God becoming human. We celebrate this on December 25th, Christmas. This event is so momentous that we can't possibly understand all that it means to us. Still, we try to do so, and one of the ways that the church calendar helps us is through this season of Advent. It's the time to prepare ourselves, our souls and our minds for the coming of the Lord. Now notice, you see, there's a difference between how the church begins its new year and how the secular world begins its new year. So we have this long period of preparation. The secular world keeps moving forward toward the beginning of its new year. In a sense, it's kind of like a freight train that goes out of control. It takes us from Black Friday through the various shopping milestones. Cyber Monday would be one of them, and continues to focus on how many more shopping days are left before Christmas. It's interesting that they know Christmas, they celebrate the date, but not the event that Christmas stands for. So, without any introspection or time taken to consider our lives, the secular world hurls us through December, past Christmas. Before you know it, it's the new year, with just a slight stop for revelry on New Year's Eve. And then somewhere, seemingly, somewhere out of nowhere, arises a concept of a New Year's resolution that might be made and might be kept. But that's not how the church proceeds. The church tells us that in Advent, we must slow down, not be hurled forward. Slow down. Take some time for self-examination and prepare ourselves for the coming of the Lord. We're to be thinking about this in two ways. First of all, we are to begin to seriously think about what it meant and what it means that God sent His only Son into the world to be born of a virgin, to experience life as one of us, only to be crucified by us 33 years later. We're to think about how this was foretold by the prophets. Isaiah speaks about this a little bit in our Old Testament reading for today. And then on a second level, we are to be thinking about the fact that Jesus promised us that He would come again. And that would be the second coming. This would be a day of judgment, He says. Jesus speaks about that in our gospel text for today. So as we begin Advent, these are some of the things we should be thinking about. I'm going to begin by considering our gospel passage. In it, Jesus is foretelling His second coming and is exhorting His disciples. And remember, that's us. We're the disciples too. We're learning from Him. He's exhorting us to be prepared. No one knows when this will take place. When I read this passage, I feel a sense of fear when I hear Jesus speaking about these two people working together without any notice. One is taken and one is left. He says, Jesus says, then two will be in the field, one will be taken and one will be left. Two women will be grinding meal together. One will be taken and one will be left. And Jesus sums it all up in the last verse of the gospel text. Therefore you also, we also, must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an unexpected hour. Well, how are we to be ready? What can we do? We have the answer for us in the first verse of our psalm, which is then developed for us by Isaiah. The psalm begins, I was glad when they said to me, let us go to the house of the Lord. And Isaiah essentially says the same thing, but with richer language. Isaiah says, come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob. And why should we do this? We should go so that God may teach us his ways, and that we may walk in his paths. This is how we should be preparing to both celebrate the birth of Jesus, his first coming, and to prepare for his second coming by hearing about God's ways and how to walk in his paths. Now, Martin Luther says that Paul reminds us in Colossians chapter 3:16. Paul says, let the word of Christ dwell in us richly. And by that, Luther says, one must ponder it, that is the word of Christ. One must ponder it constantly and always, then some new fire will arouse our heart. Christians never read the sacred teaching enough, for the gospel does not concern itself with knowledge, it concerns itself with feeling. And we slip every day. In the flesh, sin, death, and the world assail us. Not for even one moment are we safe from what Luther calls spiritual adultery. Not for one day are we safe from spiritual adultery. This is how it is, because sins surround us on all sides and weaken godly feelings. Besides, the world persecutes us. Hence, it is necessary to hear the word of God constantly, to proclaim the death and resurrection of Christ constantly, and to ponder constantly in order that our feelings may be enlightened. So you see, it's not enough to simply know what the Bible says, just to know what it says. We need to internalize it. We need to ponder it. We need to feel it. That's what Luther says. So we're called then to take this journey up the mountain and be taught and reminded of God's ways so that we may walk in his paths. Well, what are the ways of God that we must be taught or reminded, and how can we walk in God's paths? Again, Luther, he says, the ways of the Lord are his works, especially the works he does in us. Namely, that he destroys the works of the devil, sin, death, fear, trembling, and all evils. And then also, our daily lapses. He destroys our daily lapses. And he works the opposite in us, providing hope, righteousness, patience, joy, and peace. These are the ways of the Lord, which his word brings, when it is heard and believed. When the word is missing, we begin to be offended, to judge and accuse others. But also, when the word is present, I say, God has forgiven your sins. You too must likewise forgive that person his sin and pray for him. In this way, the heart is filled with new thoughts through the word and is put to rest. Then we walk in the paths of the Lord. For Christ works and rules more and more in us. Christ, who is the Word of God and King over all. So during this Advent season, we are called to give some thought to how we have spent last year. Can we say that we have given a lot of thought to the Word of God on a daily basis, not just on Sundays? Can we say that we have felt hope during this past year? Have we felt patience and joy? Have we truly felt peace? Now, let us ask those same questions again, but with a twist. In this last year, can we say that we have offered patience, offered joy, and offered peace to others? Or have we been more apt to accuse, blame, not pray for others? In Advent, we are given a gift to be invited to ask ourselves these questions and then to turn to God for His teaching so that we will be strengthened and inspired to live in His holy ways instead of the ways of the secular world. Now, regarding that time and hour of the second coming, Jesus tells us we must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an unexpected hour. If we are sitting around worrying about that day and hour, doing nothing for anyone else, thinking only of our needs, and are never concerned about the needs of others, if we're focusing on ourselves and not on God, Jesus will come. And I'm afraid you'll be disappointed. On the other hand, if we are vigilant in our devotion to Jesus, in our prayers, in our concerns for the needs of others besides ourselves, when the Lord comes, I think He will be pleased. So as we begin this blessed season of Advent, I want to encourage us all then, in the words of Isaiah, to come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, that He may teach us His ways, and that we may walk in His paths. Let us walk in the light of the Lord, being led to offer God's mercy and kindness to all that we encounter through our thoughts and words and deeds and prayers, to the glory